Now comes cryptographic failure. Now, cryptographic failure, it was on the number 2 list, and it has moved down to the number 4. So this category is simply previously called sensitive data exposure also in 2017. Now, but OWASP realized, the people realized that data exposure was just a symptom, and the real disease was the bad cryptography. We still see a lot of issues in algorithms. We are using weak algorithm, we are poorly handling the keys, or worse, no crypto at all in a lot of places. So in 2021, they renamed it to cryptographic failures, and now and marked it as number 2. Now they've moved it to number 4. Now, what are cryptographic failures? It's about messing up how you protect the sensitive data, like passwords, credit card numbers, health information, business secrets, all of that, and not using encryption at all. It could be plain passwords, or using the outdated crypto like MD5, SHA-1, DES, or C4. We are also improperly managing a key at times. Could be hard coding keys, reusing the keys, or there are weak keys which are there. Another thing is randomness. I think that's something which is very, very important. Predictable tokens and session IDs should never be used. Another thing is the TLS. There is bad TLS, SSL that we are using. And if you look at the data, there's 3.80% of all the applications are vulnerable to cryptographic failure issues. And how does it work? So if you talk about OpenSSL, if you look at this demo where we talked about it, happened in 2014, and if we are talking about it still, that means it's these things are still relevant. These issues, they can creep up at any given point of time. And then whole thing with Heartbleed, where the TLS Heartbeat request, when we started connections, it was just sharing the data, and we were able to play around with it. And victim was able to actually copy this Heartbeat payload and into the memory, and at some point the data back to the attacker. Now, if my data is going back to the attacker, I'm worried. I'm just sharing all this information. So it is very, very tricky where this data is being shared with the attacker. Now, let me actually show you the demo.
Hello, I'd like to give you a quick demonstration of the Heartbleed attack. I'm going to use a little Magento store that I've set up here. As you can see, I'm not logged in up here. Mr. Bieber is trying to get me to buy his latest CD. Let's see how we go. Now, first thing we're going to do is kick off the Heartbleed attack. I'm using the Python version of this. There's a few different exploits out there, but I happen to like this one. And we're going to poll the server every second. Write out the 64K of memory that we get back into a file, temp heartbleed.out, and kick that off. And over here, we'll just tail the file. You'll see, yeah, it's appending data to that. Before we go any further, let's have a quick look in there, because you never quite know what you're going to get and when you're going to get it. We'll have a little scroll through, see what we've got. Nothing too interesting on that occasion. Let's scroll down, going. Some interesting stuff there. Looks like bits of a HTTP request. There's definitely some bits of an HTTP request. Looks like we've got a cookie value there as well for the front end, so we might come back to that. That's definitely more stuff. Now that looks interesting. So here we've got the contents of a post request, which was previously made for, it looks like a user registering on the site. You can see here they've registered a username as pwned@4arm.com with a password, I am pwned. That could be interesting. Let's get straight in there. I am pwned. Log in. Look at that. Beautiful. So what we've done there, kill that off. Just to summarize, we're an unauthenticated user. We've run the Heartbleed script. We've looped through. We've returned 64K of memory each time from the server, written it into a file. We've looked through the file, and we've immediately recovered some user credentials that we've then used to log into the site. That's a completely unauthenticated remote attack, and you won't detect it in your logs. It's pretty serious stuff. So get patching.
All right. I think this is serious, and this is something which needs attention. So, what shall we do? Let's understand. Now, let's first of all classify your data, whatever is sensitive. Very, very important. And understand that if it needs to be encrypted at rest, encrypt it. Encryption in transit is needed. Make sure you encrypt everywhere. Use strong algorithms, whether it's AES 256 or SHA-256 plus or RSA 2048 plus. I think this is something which is very important. Key management best practices is also very, very important here, where we need to use vaults, we need to rotate keys, we need to make sure that we don't hard code them. We're still hard coding a lot of APIs, API keys, and those keys which are there. So let's not do it. Again, the password storage, we need to make sure we are using strong salting, and we are using them properly. We are using proper TLS version, updated one. We are using HSTS. We are also making sure that there's randomness which is there.